everyone, it is Zero Witzer here. Today we'll be talking about Yaesha's lore. I love Yaesha for its captivating stories and adventure. I wanted to know more ever since I encountered Lemaire, an NPC that you save in Forgotten Field. The more I listened, the more questions I had, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one with this dilemma. So, I set out to seek some answers. There are a lot of connections between Chronos before the Ashes, Remnant from the Ashes, and Remnant 2. And the lore at times is scattered throughout items, text excerpts, and conversations that some might skip or not find. A lot of this information can be found by speaking with the Lemaire, Root Nexus boss, after his defeat. It is a very long, though interesting conversation, and definitely worth your time. This is what I found, and hopefully this video will help everyone fill up those blanks. Let's get started. I will be explaining the lore in chronological order. I do not have the exact time and date, but I will do my best in making sure they all make sense. Those who had played Chronos before the Ashes and Remnant from the Ashes, you will know at some point that Pen migrated to Yaesha. So, what caused the migration and why? Pen's homeland, now known as the place that was ravaged by the Great Plague. Here we understood the severity of the Great Plague, devastating, brutal, and swift, taking all the living with it and leaving only disparity and suffering in its wake. The leader of the Pen, King Coquette, believed that the Great Plague was retribution for his warmongering youth, that the blood of his many enemies watered the trees of the place that was, defiling and destroying the land. And so King Coquette made a decree to leave the place that was. He ordered 100 ships to hold 10,000 souls and set sail through the Vilk Marsar, the dark sea, that was thought to have no far shore. He was often seen at the prow of the leadership to give his people a sign of hope. The Pen were also accompanied by their guardian, the god of many faces, who eased the voyage by cutting down waves before them. The length of the journey is unclear. The lore text in the library in Remnant 2 alludes to 300 moons, but the Lemaire says 100 days and 100 nights. It could be that they have multiple moons and a longer day span. Could be inaccuracies between different tellings of the story. Who knows? Nevertheless, we could all agree the journey was long and difficult. Though King Coquette's decision led to the discovery and habitation of Yaesha, he unfortunately succumbed to illness partway through and never witnessed his people's rise to glory. After his death, and with no heir, the Vaughns, the Plant's clergy and speaker for the Guardian, were chosen to take his place. As the Lemaire says, after a journey of 100 days and 100 nights, a bird heralded the shores of Yaesha, glory to the Pen, where they have reached the Great Mother. The Great Mother can be translated to Yaesha, and also Kin Mother. The Vaughns arrived upon the shore and bowed for 80 days, praying for a sign that Yaesha could be their new home. On the 80th day, a beautiful red doe emerged from the unfamiliar forest. In the doe's path, flowers and berries grew. The Vaughns saw the doe as a sign of life, hope, and growth, signifying Yaesha as a place for the Pen to begin anew. However, closely following the doe was a fearsome wolf. A wolf black as the obsidian, an omen of death, who became known as the Ravager. With fresh memories of the devastation of their homeland and witnessing their people's hope dwindle more and more by the day, the Vaughns ultimately chose to hide the wolf's existence and only told the people of the pen about the doe. They chose to settle on Yaesha. Soon after arriving, Genus, a red widow and the lowest of her class, had fallen sick. Consumed by the fear of the Great Plague, Genus was banished from her people by the Widow Mother. She was sent alone, never to be grieved by her sisters and her loved ones, and never to be remembered. Days passed, and many assumed the sickness had finally claimed Genus's life. But lo and behold, she returns, free of affliction and full of vigor, with a marvelous tale upon her lips too. The pen, convinced that her fate was sealed, marveled at her return. She spoke of her final moments on the forest's bed, gasping for air, and of a vision that was granted before her. A vision that the Great Plague had returned and destroyed the pen. Gina spoke that a great tree, the Taian tree, would rise and free them from their faith, bearing fruits that would grant unending life. Gina's found this tree and consumed the fruit, freeing her from her affliction. Genus's tale quickly spread and she gained power through her premonition of death and salvation. She rose the ranks of the Red Widow, where once she was the lowest of the Red Widow, her story saw her rise to the position of Red Mother. In turn, the ruling class shifted from the Vaughns to the Red Widow, with Genus as their leader. In her 77th winter, now wrinkled and old, Genus spoke of a new vision. The Taian tree told her of an imminent doom and that it was time to seek it out. 500 pen were gathered from the villages, with Genus leading the expedition. Of the 500, only 49 survived. 5 Red Widows and 44 common pen, and Genus herself. After 20 years, they returned from the jungle and forever changed the destiny of the pen. Genus and her consort no longer bore signs of aging and claimed immortality. Her rule as the Eternal Empress began, with her 49 immortal pen, becoming nobles of the new reign. With Eternal Empress and her deathless nobles ruling the pen, a new hierarchy was formed. The nobles were selfish with their fruits and traded it for favor. The lesser classes became slaves, trading their lives for servitude. For many years, the aristocracy grew and the hierarchy became more and more established until the Immortals encountered a challenge to their supremacy. The Ravager ruthlessly attacked and killed many pen, sparing neither the Immortals nor the slaves. The pen came together and fought as one against this new enemy. The Eternal Empress, seizing an opportunity, ordered the Lemire to experiment on the dead Immortals. The Vaughns, maintaining their old ways and having spent years listening to the Song of Affair, devised a way to quiet the Ravager by constructing and using the water harp. The Ravager was subdued and the status quo was again established, if only for a time. The Krell King, the first Paxeldak, arrived seeking the Eternal Empress for her aid. His royal guardian, the Cyclops, had demanded he give it his daughter as a tribute, and he refused to comply. Upon days of deliberation, the Eternal Empress gifted the Krell King a fruit of death, a twisted gourd brought out from the depths of the Taian tree's roots. As to whether the attempt of poisoning his guardian was successful, we can deduce it is not, as we fight him in Chronos before the ashes. Where once the Taian tree brought life, its vile use as a tool of death led to the withering and demise of the tree. Many years passed with the Eternal Empress keeping the fate of the Taian tree secret. The Lemire continued their research in order to revitalize the tree and gain immortality without the fruit. A second Paxotak, now known as the Destroyer by the Pen, arrives on Yaesha with a task to annihilate the god of many faces. He is the main protagonist you play in Chronos Before the Ashes. He arrives in Yaesha with a wooden arm, a powerful gift he received from a tree in Krell's world. He slaughtered many skillful pen that stood in his way before confronting and killing the god of many faces. Upon the guardian's demise, his wooden arm began to hurt, and he blacks out from the pain. A root seed from the arm then planted itself in the guardian's room. The pen were unaware that the god of many faces silently protected their world from the root. At this point, we arrive at the story of Remnant 1 from the Ashes. As time passes by, the Ravager frees himself from the control of the song and silences the Waterheart. You later come across the Ravager's lair and kill him during your journey. Then you discover the god of many faces chamber, and you see that the root seed has grown immensely. The secret of the tree's death is long known by a member of the Eternal Empress's Guard, Navun. Upon being tasked to annihilate an innocent village, she decided to betray the Empress and reveal the secret to the pen. Chaos ensued. News of immortality slips away from Pen's hand and begins to spread. The aristocracy's power was questioned. With the news of the Guardian's death and the unrest of the Taiyan's tree's slow demise, the Pen's discontent for the Eternal Empress only grew deeper. Talks of usurp echoed throughout the villages, and what was initially a trickle rose to waves of Pen challenging the aristocracy, led by Navun. Navun was occasionally aided by a Paxotak from Earth, Commander Ford. When you arrived at the Red Throne, you were asked to rid of the Corruptor, Abomination, a root entity who had resurrected and taken control of Yaesha's guardian, as well as corrupted the Taiyan tree. The Queen in Disguise, which is the handmaiden, implored you to take on the quest, as she believed no life nor future can begin if the God Spark is trapped within the Guardian. If slain, the God Spark can be freed and dwell in another vessel such as a doe, returning the balance. Upon defeating the Corruptor and returning to the Red Throne, the Queen in Disguise mentioned a glimpse of the Red Doe being born anew with a higher status. During your journey, your encounter with the Flauntis and the Lemaire revealed that there was a previous Paxotak who came across the Ravager and lived. We know that we have killed him in Remnant 1, and we can conclude that the wolf has been resurrected and corrupted by the root. The Ravager's pledge to the root had greatly upset the balance, and brought upon a new reign of terror upon Yaesha. The Taiyan tree is dying, the Guardians being corrupted by the root, invasion of the root, the unshackled Ravager, and the Red Doe's life hanging by its thread. It's pretty chaotic, I must say. Yaesha is truly out of balance, and its inhabitants are on their wits' end, for they could not interfere with the balance but watch Yaesha's destruction run its course. The Vons, however, believe an outsider, a Paxotak, could interfere, or a foreign intervention must be dealt with by another foreign intervention. It is believed that with the death of the Ravager and the restoration of the Red Doe, the balance can be renewed. So, what do you guys think? Did we restore the balance, or did we plunge Yaesha into a point of no return? Also, what do you guys think the moral of Yaesha's story is, if there is one? Let me know in the comments down below, and have a wonderful day, everyone. See you next time. Bye.